Welcome everyone back to the Reading Writing Corner. I'm your host, Leanne, and this is the first part of the non-spoiler review for The Husband by Dean Koontz. If you've been here before, welcome. I'm glad you came back. If you haven't been here before, pull up a seat, sit down, and let's talk about this book. Okay? This hardcover book, which is not very big, thick, or anything like that. So, it's a standalone, if you need to know. Now about the book. What would you do to save your family? That's what the book is about. What would you do to save your family? As you see on the cover, it says, "We have your wife. You can get her back for $2 million cash." So what would you do? That's the back of the book. I mean, the front of the book. The back of it says a lot more to it, like, "You got until midnight Wednesday. This is nuts. Where would I get $2 million bucks? You'll find a way. It isn't impossible. I'm a gardener. We've got maybe 11,000 in the bank. Just so you don't know we're serious, see that guy across the street still holding the phone to his ear?" Mitch turned, saw a man walking a dog. The summer day had a porcelain glaze. Rifle fire shattered the stillness, and the dog walker went down, shot in the head. "Midnight Wednesday, Mitch. We're damn serious." So, that's that, what the actual blurb is. So we have your wife. You can get her back for $2 million cash. Landscaper, gardener, Mitchell Rafferty thinks it must be some kind of a joke. He was busy planting flower beds for one of his clients when his phone rang. Now he's just standing in a normal suburban neighborhood on a bright summer day, having a phone conversation. I can't talk today. Everyone, try again. Landscaper, gardener, Mitchell Rafferty thinks it must be some kind of joke. He was busy planting flower beds for one of his clients when his phone rang. Now he's standing in a normal suburban neighborhood on a bright summer day, having a phone conversation out of his darkest nightmare. Whoever is on the other end of the line is dead serious. See that guy across the street? Rifle fire shatters the stillness as the man goes down, shot him. An object lesson. The caller doesn't care that Mitch has no way of raising such a vast sum. He's confident that Mitch will find a way. If he loves his wife enough. Mitch does love her enough. He's got 60 hours to prove it. He'll pay anything. He'll pay a lot more than $2 million. So, Mitch didn't expect his life to be turned upside down one summer day, but a phone call from a kidnapper changed everything for him. Mitch learned how far he would go to save his wife. The setup of the characters hits you fast in the face. There's very little world building and character building because it's a fast-paced story where action happens quickly. Their motives are clear-cut. That guy wants money, the wife wants to live, Mitch wants his wife to live. That's basically it. The characters react to the situation the way I assume anyone would react to being kidnapped or even getting a phone call about someone you love being kidnapped. Panic. That's basically all it is, panic. The genre is considered to be thriller. Did this live up to my expectations? Yes, it was an exciting read. So I'm hoping I like all his other books that I have. And more. We'll see. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Which character did I relate to the most? None of them. I've never been kidnapped, never had to face a serious situation like this before in my life. Which secondary character stood out the most? His wife Holly was in a tough situation and did what she could to escape. She was calm, collected, and thought through every decision she made. What was more important, the characters or the plot? The plot was the whole point of the book. I kidnapped your wife. Give me $2 million. That's about it. This is literally what the plot was about. It's about that. A little bit more deeper, I guess. Him trying to get his wife back. Alive. It had multiple voices, too, actually, and it did not affect my reading. I've come to realize that a lot of stuff doesn't really affect my reading. I guess I just like to read. Should you go and read the story? Yes, if you like reading thrillers, a time crunch against time. Like if you've seen the movie Speed, 2, 3, however many there are of it, you would like this. it's a lot like it. It's a race against time type of deal. That will end the non-spoiler part of this review. So if you think it deserves a like, comment, or read Lovely's description before you walk out of this because you don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and drop it down below. Hello, people who want to be spoiled. Welcome to my show. I don't know why I said that. Oh, I know why. It's because I'm reading something that deals with shows. So, there you go. Currently. So, the characters that you meet, and these are the main characters, side characters, and important recurring characters. You have Mickey, because he has, people call him Mitch and people call him Mickey, Rafferty. He is a gardener that gets the call that changes his life. His wife is kidnapped, and they want an unholy amount of money. $2 million in cash. I mean, like a gardener that's saving up money so he can have kids and have the life that he wants. Especially as a starter, that he's not making a whole lot of money at the moment. It's kind of a lot. I mean, it's a lot for me, and I have $0 in my account. They shoot a guy to show they are serious. Mitch kills one by accident before going to his brother. So basically what happens is Mitch is the person has to be in the attic above the garage. So he goes to try and surprise the guy and knock him out, and the guy surprises him instead. And when they're he's leading the guy back down, leading Mitch back downstairs, the guy trips over decorations and falls to his death. We'll get more into that when we get down to who that was, because he's on this list. I thought it would be interesting to put that in there. So his brother Anson betrays Mitch and sends him to be killed by driving him to a friend, claiming that the friend will help him out. And the friend's like, oh yeah, I'll clean this mess up for you, and sends 2 guys to kill Mitch by bringing him to a different location. Mitch ends up killing the 2 guys, and returns to his brother, trapping him and getting the information in as much as he could, which is about $1.8 million instead of the full, or the $1.4 million. And it's not the full $2 million, basically. And then he gets a phone call saying where the drop's going to be meet. So he goes to drop, and there he and his wife fight to save her. Mitch and her together kill the last guy. So Holly Rafferty, the wife, she's the one that's kidnapped. She fights them at first, of course, but fails. And they cut her palm to smear blood everywhere to make it look like she'd been killed by her own husband, Mitch. And kidnapped. So she stops fighting them after that because she's got to be more careful because she knows she is pregnant. She hasn't told her husband yet. So in the end, she picks up a nail out of the hiding spot they were in, and she uses that to help kill the last kidnapper with her husband. There are 5 kidnappers in the beginning, okay? So far, one of them, two of them are dead. I mean, like, they drop off like flies. We'll get to that. Ignatius Iggy Barnes, the help that Mitch has for his gardener, he knew nothing about what's going on, and was worried and everything. It was kind of like a help case because Iggy's like, I don't know, a little off the chains. So you have Lieutenant or Detective Sandy Taggart, the detective on the case. He knew something was wrong and kept showing up to help. Mike actually tases him because he did not want to chase, he didn't want to chance something happening to his brother, to his wife. Basically what it is detectives like, trying to know in a roundabout way, saying, I know something's wrong, I know you're not telling me the truth, would you give me the truth? So when he shows up at Anson's house, going like, what are you doing here? And Mike's just like, okay, look, I know my brother's house has it bugged, so I'm going to tell you everything. And he tells the detective everything. And the detective's like, well, I'll get my buddies on this case and we'll handle this from now on. You don't have to worry about it. We've got it. And he's like, Mitch is like, okay. And then tases the detective going, I ain't chancing my wife dying. Stay here. And takes off. Okay, so the first kidnapper, Jason Osteen, there was a guy that was shot to show Mitch that the kidnappers were serious. Jason thought they were going to shoot the dog and not Jason, not himself, because he was one of the kidnappers, and they were supposed to split the $2 million cash 5 ways. And, they didn't want to pay Jason because they thought 2 million split 5 ways wouldn't be a lot. So they shot him so it could be a 4-way split instead of a 2-way split. Yeah. So John Knox was the guy that was in the attic bugging Mitch's house, which Mitch accidentally killed when he attempted to spook the guy, and it got turned on him. The guy from the attic of the garage. Now, a fall like that shouldn't have killed him, but the way he landed, and his gun went off and shot him, and something ran through his throat, so his neck was snapped, his throat was cut, and he had a gunshot wound from his own gun that went through his chest. So effectively, it killed him 3 different ways. He landed face down, head and shoulders under an overturned wheelbarrow. And the guy toppled it over, of course. He landed with his throat across the rolled metal edge of the wheelbarrow tray. The impact crushed his larynx and collapsed his trachea. So, his finger went off, and the bullet penetrated just under the sternum, angled to the left. Minimal bleeding suggested a heart wound, instant death. So, if the shot hadn't killed him, his collapsed airway would have. But there was also another thing. So it was a broken neck. So he broke his neck in the fall. He crushed his trachea, which would have collapsed his airway, which was making him die of oxygen deprivation. And he had a gunshot through the heart. So yeah, he died 3 different ways. It was a trifecta death. That's what it was. By accident, by the way. That was all on accident because the guy tripped over decorations in the attic, and yeah. So, when the killers, the 3 living kidnappers, learned about it, they realized that he was gone. All 3 of them became suspicious of the other 2 and thought that they killed him to make it a 3-way cut instead. Dum, dum, dum. We'll get to the last killers in a minute. So we're going to go to Daniel and Catherine Rafferty. I don't like them, but I don't like Anson more. But Daniel and Catherine Rafferty had like a silence chamber, the room where they put their kids into a solitude of silence with no lights and nothing to do, as a way of teaching them. And they thought, hands off, you can't have normal attachments was the kind of thing. It traumatized all of them. So, yeah. Anson killed them after handing Mitch over to be killed to make it look like Mitch killed them. So that way, if Mitch lived, which he didn't think he would, Mitch would be blamed for the murders of their parents. Now, they don't show up in this, but I'm going to sit there and talk about the other 3 Rafferty children. You have Connie Rafferty, who, when she moved away, she opened up a bakery. Megan Mafucci, who married a guy with the last name Mafucci, was the second oldest daughter. She ran a thriving dog grooming business. And Portia Rafferty, youngest sister, they don't actually speak about what she does, but all 3 of them left as far away as they could because nobody wanted to live near them. But their own person who lived within the vicinity was Mitch. That's because of his wife, who owned the house her grandmother had, and they wanted to live there and raise their children there. Anson Rafferty, the oldest sibling and only brother to Mitch, because of the way things were done, the way he was the first child, and he kind of went a little local with the way they raised him. He went to doing IT criminal stuff, which means he did a lot of bad things to gain a lot of money in an illegal way. And he had it hidden around his house, and he had a yacht that cost way too much money. And he was about to skip town and go live on a yacht where he would never be detectable by anybody, enemies, or even allies or cops. He made it seem like that he helped out Mitch's siblings, the other 3 Raffertys, and he's like, I was trying to figure out how to help you out. I can give you $2 million to get your wife back. It's perfect. And then he brings him to his ex-FBI friend and says, yeah, here, kill him. I'm being ransomed. His wife is being ransomed. I don't care. Kill him, and I'm gonna make it look like, you know, murder. And then he murdered his own parents, and then Mitch tased him, locked him up, and gave him the same type of punishment by leaving him in his own laundry room, tied up, unable to do anything, including go to the bathroom, which he urinates on himself. Disgusting in all ways, but he deserved it. The asshole. And, you know, to make him talk, make him willing to give up the money. And he does, and he's like, you're gonna let me go now? And Mitch is like, no, I'll change my mind. I'm not. You're gonna get arrested. And goes to leave. Anderson was arrested, and he was put in prison for what he did. Yay! Justice system. Julian Campbell was the ex-FBI that worked as a criminal, I guess. His bodyguards were supposed to kill Mitch, but they were killed instead because somehow Mitch got the drop on 2 of them. He shot one when the trunk went open, and then he shot the other one, and then, like, nuked him, shot him. Jimmy No is one of the 3 kidnappers, and what happened here is that Jimmy No was convinced that the other 2 kidnappers, which he never learned the names of, were going to kill him so they could have a 2-way split. And so he kills them instead, so it's just a 1-way split. I mean, like, he gets all the money. He was also a little local, talking about how where he went in Mexico and New Mexico and all over the place, being around people, they changed his life, even though a lot of them were murders that he'd committed. He thought Holly was going to join him because he thought Holly was a lot like him, and was like, yeah, you'll make the right decision in the end. He was killed by Mitch and Holly. You know. Dorothy Rafferty is Mitch's firstborn daughter, which happens at the very end of the book. In the end, yay! Dorothy, the unborn child, comes. And then, of course, I wanted to mention that they have another child named Anthony Rafferty. Their son. Yay! There are 2 POVs within the stories, and those are Mitch and Holly. They're the only ones you get. You don't get the rest. Mitch and Holly are the only ones. My favorite character was Holly. She was calm and collected, even though her life and that of her unborn child were on the line. She was like, I'm going to get this nail up, but I'm going to be very calm about it. I'm not going to give away anything. I'm not going to show them that I'm trying to do this. I'm going to plan, I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to execute. Really good at that. My most disliked character was Anson. He didn't care if Mitch and Harley both died. He even set up his own Mitch's death, was just gonna let the kidnappers kill Holly, and then went and murdered his own parents. Like, dude, what the fuck? Seriously, what the hell were you thinking? Your own family. I mean, yes, your parents were asses and just deserved to be slapped in the face and probably even arrested and thrown in jail, but Mitch didn't deserve any of that. Nor did Holly. Innocent. Innocent. It's your own dumb fault for taking more money out of a job with those 5 guys than it was their fault. You should have paid them more. It was told in chronological order with appropriate language for the story. There was no foreshadowing in the book because it was all suspense, so the suspense was really done well each step of the book. Would Mitch find his wife? Would he get the ransom money together? Would he survive the 2 thugs killing him? Would he survive, period? Would he tell the detectives? Would the detectives do anything? Would his wife die? You know, all that built up suspense. Even though it was a quick read, it was still very suspenseful. The background was explained enough to understand the actions Mitch and Anson took the most, because they're the 2 heavily main characters in here. The title of the book meant Mitch, who is the husband. He never done anything wrong, like killing someone, but he did it 3 times in order to save his wife. What a loving husband he is. And it proves that he would do anything. I mean, he even tased his own brother. And lied. And tased a cop. All to save his wife. And he stole a car. And he was driving around with a dead body in the back of his trunk. I mean, like, this dude did a lot of stuff that he'd never done before, that he'd only seen on TV because his wife was being ransomed. So the cover of the book is a ring. Well, my cover of the book is a ring with words to show that it was a heart-stopping thriller, because it's a hardcover. There ain't really nothing on the hardcover, so really the cover sleeve is what's got it all on there. What set it out as memorable was how fast-paced the book moved, but it kept you reading. You wanted to know more and more and more. I'm telling you, more. My favorite passage from the story is they thought they knew the kind of man he was, and maybe they did, but they didn't know the kind of man he could become when the life of his wife was in the balance. And really, they didn't. I mean, he became a murderer because his wife was, you know, in danger. So he did what he had to do to save her. My favorite quote, well, it's part of a quote. Here's the beginning of it, and then here's the part that the part that sets up the quote. Holly's lovely face rose into his mind, and he said aloud, God, please give me the strength and the wisdom to help her. End quote. This was the first time in his life that he had spoken to God. So he reached deep within himself, because he was raised not to believe in God and to believe in religion and all that stuff, because his parents didn't believe in it. So they didn't want him to believe in it, because he wasn't even allowed to read fairy tales or books, fiction books, fantasy books. He wasn't allowed to do any of that stuff. He had to be in the real world. He reached out for the first time so that way he would have the strength to save the woman that he loved, and he believed that God could give that to him. Really, what a touching guy. What I thought about the ending of the book. Happy that it was a good ending. Holly and Mitch survived. Holly had her unborn child. Mitch didn't go to jail for assaulting a police officer, nor killing 3 guys, even if one of them was an accident, and stealing a car. And they had 2 kids. Yay. What book did this remind me of? Nothing that I can currently think of. I don't think I've read a fast-paced action thriller before. I read a lot of weird stuff, as you'll come to find out. So maybe I'll read a fast-paced action thriller and it will remind me of The Husband. But so far, this first book to my knowledge that I have read a fast-paced action thriller. The book is a standalone, as you know. It's standalone. There is nothing out of it. But Dean Koontz does have a lot of books out there. Another one on my list was that I'm currently reading. Well, not currently. I've already read. Is Mr. Murder. I'll let you guys know my thoughts on that when I do that review. I rate this book a 4 out of 5 stars. And I guess the reason that it's not a 5-star is simply because, well, I went into this thinking it was a mystery. But apparently he doesn't really do mystery. He does a lot of thriller, which is mainly you already know basically the whole plot, and there is no real mystery in it. So that was, I guess, where I went wrong. So I thought it was a mystery, but it's not. It was not a mystery thriller. It was just a thriller. See you next delusion.